Wow, good morning. Some of you are up early this morning. Année, bonjour, bon matin, tout le monde. Good morning, and thanks so much to Jan for that very warm welcome. Let me also acknowledge and welcome our Ontario Liberal MPP caucus who are here with me today. Let's give them a wave. Thank you. Stand up and wave. There they are. Let's hear it. I think it's particularly fitting to join ROMA, the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, for my very first major speech as the Ontario Liberal leader. Isn't that great? And it's important for two reasons. The first, because of course I served over a decade in municipal leadership as mayor and as councillor for the great city of Mississauga. And second, because Ontario Liberal leader, a central focus and goal of my leadership must be to build a new, improved relationship between our party and our rural communities. I hope today will mark a good start towards that goal. I want to speak to you this morning about values, particularly the value of a handshake. I want to speak to you about collaboration, and I want to speak to you about respect. Three simple ideas. Let's start with the handshake. As municipal leaders, we shake many hands. At New Year's levees, knocking on doors, at the Sobeys checkout lineup. In rural and small town Ontario, a handshake means something more than a greeting. It seals an agreement. It's a sign of honor, of collaboration, and respect. You can do a deal on a handshake, looking someone in the eye, deciding to trust them. As municipal leaders, we're trained, as my mentor, Hazel McCallion, used to say, to do our homework. We read staff reports. We speak with experts. We're in touch with trusted voices in the community, and then we form a decision. We make the right decision, and we stick to it. That's the goal every time, because that's leadership. That's how we build trust with our residents, and that's how we get things done. Sadly, that's not the case in Ontario politics today. Late last year, Premier Ford's latest Minister of Municipal Housing had a press conference to walk back yet another decision. Cynthia Mulligan from City TV, maybe she's here today, summed it up with one good question. Do you guys think things through before you make decisions? Or as Hazel McCallion would say, did you do your homework? It's not too much to ask. The people of Ontario deserve better. The communities of Ontario deserve better. I cannot list all the decisions Doug Ford has gotten undone. But here are a few prime examples municipal leaders are all too familiar with. The Regional Governance Review, public planning reform, municipal boundary expansions, the roles and responsibilities of conservation authorities, protecting prime agricultural land. The people have spoken. We will not touch the Greenbelt. Development charges, sustainable energy infrastructure, EV charging stations, reducing wait times and ending hallway medicine, heritage preservation, and goodness knows, ministerial zoning orders or MZOs. Folks, this Ford only drives in reverse. And the worst part is, it's no accident. These are deliberate choices being made by a man who spends all of his time to make his donors and rich friends richer and loses sight of the real people he's supposed to be fighting for. Doug Ford has failed people, and he's failed Ontario businesses and communities. No one is better off now than they were before he came to office, except a very small group of his wealthy friends. Promises are made, Promises are broken. Decisions are made. Decisions are reversed. As the saying goes, this is no way to run a railroad. It lacks integrity. It's untrustworthy. You cannot do business with someone who you cannot trust. There's no certainty, and there's no reliability. But more than that, it's not collaborative. And frankly, it's just not respectful. Queen's Park should not dictate to our towns and regions. It should not be top-down. It should be collaborative, and it should be respectful. That's the right way to build lasting progress. Municipal government is collaborative. It's respectful, well, most of the time. Listen, we don't always agree, but we work together to find common ground, to carefully manage the people's money. It's our fiduciary responsibility by targeting spending to address the greatest needs. Municipalities do not run deficits, do we? Municipal councils work together to build roads, to renew old hockey rinks, and yes, to protect local wetlands. Our small towns are places where we look out for each other. Volunteers are stocking shelves at the food bank. Farmers and conservation authorities restoring a watercourse together. Neighbors shoveling the snow or carrying chains in their hatchbacks to get people stuck out of the snow ditch. That's what we do. We don't want the government to do everything, but we do want the government to be there when we need it, to get the basics right, to provide public services that we all rely on. Ontario is the 17th largest economy. We'd be in the G20 if we were a country. That's right. We need to have a provincial government that's trustworthy, that's reliable, that does their homework, that's competent, that's focused on what real people need right now. We deserve health care for our families when they need it, not a crisis of massive wait times, emergency room closures, and increasing private for-profit medicine. Under Doug Ford, over 1,200 emergency department closures, mostly in rural hospitals, occurred in a single year. That's unacceptable. We deserve great schools, colleges, skilled trades training programs, and universities to prepare our youth, our young people, to prepare everyone so that they can be equipped for the jobs of tomorrow and they can contribute to our economy. Instead, we have cuts to the classroom. Students and educators learning in drafty portables after an hour-long bus ride. Rural school closures and universities that need to make their budgets work on the back of foreign students. We deserve roads, bridges, highways, regional bus service, broadband, internet and cellular services, community centers, and homes that ordinary people can afford. We deserve a green belt, lakes and rivers, wetlands and farmlands protected for the next generation. Instead, under Doug Ford, we have crumbling infrastructure and decisions made to benefit wealthy insider friends of the Premier rather than to serve real people who want safe roads, jobs close to home, and a mortgage that's manageable. We deserve collaborative and respectful relationships between the province and our municipalities. Municipal leaders deserve these basic values so that together we can work together to deliver for our residents. You deserve fair funding for infrastructure, reliable funding so that you can plan year after year. Yesterday, I listened to delegation after delegation from rural municipal leaders all across the province, and I heard you loud and clear. And what I heard was sometimes really tough to listen to. There is real anxiety out there. Some of you told us that you've appealed to the province to help you build infrastructure, to meet your financial obligations because your needs are too great for a small community's budget. Some of you told me you were on the brink of bankruptcy. The situation is truly dire for some. Or you fought for the future of your local hospital, only to see it close. What did you get from this government? Did you get empathy? Did you get compassion? Did you get listened to? No. You told me you got contempt and silence. Silence. Municipal leaders should never feel like their concerns are not being heard by this government. I know something of this firsthand. When I stood up for my residents as mayor of the city of Mississauga, the premier said I was whining. Whining. I said, no, Premier. I'm standing up for my residents. It's your job to fight for your residents. It's every municipal leader's job to do so. Ontario's municipalities need a provincial government that listens to you, that works for you, but more importantly, that works with you. And that's what I want to deliver. It all comes down to respect. Here I want to take a particular moment to praise a young mother from small town Simcoe County, Emily McIntosh. Emily leads a nonprofit in her spare time. She's taken on an important fight to ensure municipal politics is safe and respectful for everyone, building off the work AMO and ROMA have done over the years. After a particularly upsetting set of allegations against a nearby councillor, Emily was shocked to learn that there was no legal process to remove a councillor with egregious behavior from office after serious workplace harassment claims are proven. My colleague, MPP Stephen Blais, introduced Bill 5, which would have set up exactly such a legal process, creating a system fair to the person accused and to the person making the complaint. But rather than passing the bill or even introducing one of their own, the Ford government has simply failed to act. And this is a fundamental thing. We need accountability for those who do the wrong thing. We know politics can be a messy business. It can be a nasty business, but it doesn't have to be. So one message I want to share today on the theme of respect is to thank ROMA for your dedicated, thoughtful work on this important issue. Alongside AMO, you've been leading the way since 2021. I also want to thank the councils from Aurora and Bradford to Woolwich and Quinte West, and every letter of the alphabet in between who have passed resolutions in support of creating a fair legal process to uphold respectful behavior by municipal councils. In fact, we should extend it to provincial politicians and municipal and federal politicians as well. Respect and collaboration, trust the value of a handshake. These are fundamental values that I know we share. Over the last year, many of you have asked me why I would give up my job as being the mayor of my city. It was truly a job that I loved, a huge honor and a very great responsibility. I made this change because I felt called to serve, to fight for every community in Ontario, to put the government's focus where it should be, on the needs of real people. Doug Ford's backroom deals with his rich buddies have pulled his focus from that. The people are worse off today because of it. I truly believe we deserve better. I also believe I have the experience and the leadership to offer a better path forward, to deliver reliable public health care, to deliver good schools, training programs, universities, and colleges, to protect our environment and create jobs, to invest in our infrastructure and build houses people can afford. And we're doing it by building a strong, thoughtful, collaborative team in every riding in this province. Over the next 2.5 years, I look forward to listening and learning from our rural municipal leaders at conferences like this one, and over coffees in your hometowns. So please give me a call. I value your expertise, and I welcome your ideas on how to get things done. I look forward to shaking hands today and building great relationships on a foundation of collaboration and respect. And that's how I'd serve as Premier. And that's the approach I believe Ontario deserves. And that's what we can deliver together. Thank you so much for being up early and listening to me this morning. Merci and miigwech.